Hey there, sweet friends. Come sit with me for a minute. My name is Lisa Thompson. I'm 42 years old and I live in a quiet little town outside Chicago. If you've ever felt that empty ache in your heart at night, wondering if you waited too long for the family you always dreamed of, then this story is for you. The fertility doctor laughed right in my face when I told him I wanted to be a single mom at 42. He leaned back in his chair, gave me that kind but sorry smile, and said, "Lisa Thompson, honey, at your age, with no husband, no partner, that's a brave wish, but the odds aren't on our side." I felt my cheeks burn, but I looked him straight in the eyes and whispered, "Dr. Matthews, I'm not asking for easy. I'm asking for possible." That moment right there is the beginning of the craziest, most beautiful, most mysterious journey of my entire life. If you're already feeling your heart tug and you love real, emotional, can't look away stories like this, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button and tap the little bell. It only takes 2 seconds and it means I can keep sharing these stories with you every week. Thank you, sweet friend. Now let's go back to the beginning. I spent 20 years building my life as a second-grade teacher. I loved my kids at school, but every night I came home to an empty house. I dated, I tried, but the right man never showed up. Then my sweet mama passed away 2 years ago, and something inside me just broke open. I sat on her porch swing one evening, holding her old quilt, and I made myself a promise. I'm not going to wait anymore. If I have to do this alone, then I'm doing it alone. So I saved every extra penny, read every book, watched every video. At 42, I finally walked into the best fertility clinic in Illinois with my head high. The waiting room was full of young couples holding hands. I sat there by myself, hands folded so tight my knuckles turned white. My heart was beating so loud I was sure everyone could hear it. Dr. Matthews came in, shook my hand, and we talked for almost an hour. He was gentle but honest. "Lisa Thompson, the success rate for a woman your age is low, but your blood work looks better than most. Let's run some more tests." 2 weeks later, he called me himself. "Lisa Thompson, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you still have beautiful, healthy eggs. We can try." I cried right there in the grocery store parking lot. Happy tears, scared tears, hopeful tears, all mixed together. The egg retrieval day felt like a dream. I woke up early, said a little prayer, and let them put me to sleep. When I woke up, the nurse smiled and said, "We got 8 strong eggs, Lisa Thompson, 8!" I laughed and cried at the same time. They fertilized them with a kind donor, watched them grow, and 5 days later, we put 2 little embryos back inside me. The 10-day wait was pure torture. I barely slept. Every morning, I'd stare at the pregnancy test I wasn't supposed to take yet. Then the call came. "Lisa Thompson, your numbers are beautiful. You're pregnant." I dropped to my knees in my kitchen and thanked God out loud. 8 weeks later, I drove to the clinic for my very first ultrasound. My hands were shaking so bad I could hardly hold the steering wheel. I kept whispering, "Please let there be one healthy heartbeat, just one." I lay on that table, the gel cold on my belly, staring at the dark screen. Dr. Matthews came in, smiled at me, and said, "Ready to meet your little miracle?" He moved the wand slowly, and the room filled with the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard, a tiny, fast heartbeat. Tears rolled down my cheeks. "There's my baby," I whispered. Then Dr. Matthews got very quiet. He moved the wand again and again. His face changed. He pointed at the screen with a shaky finger and said, "That's not 1 heartbeat, that's 4. 4. I couldn't breathe. Quadruplets? At 42? Alone? But that wasn't even the biggest shock. He zoomed in closer, checked the computer, and his face went pale. "Lisa Thompson, these babies share a very rare genetic marker. I've only seen it one other time, in an old patient file from 14 years ago." He looked at me, eyes wide. "A twin sister? Doctor, I don't have a sister." He swallowed hard and whispered, "According to this, you do, or you did." My mouth went completely dry. A twin sister? I grew up an only child. My mom raised me alone after dad left when I was 3. She never once mentioned a sister, not a word, not even a photo. Dr. Matthews turned the screen toward me so I could see it better. 4 little shapes flickered on the ultrasound, 4 strong heartbeats, but next to them was a side panel with numbers and codes I didn't understand. He pointed to one line in red. "This genetic marker, it's extremely rare. It shows up in less than 1 in a million people. The only other time I've seen it was in your file from 2011. You came here once before for fertility testing, but the records say you never followed through with any treatment." I shook my head fast. "I've never been to this clinic before today. Never. I swear." He rubbed his forehead like he had a headache coming on. "Lisa Thompson. The file has your social security number, your date of birth, even your old address from 14 years ago. It matches everything we have on file for you now. And there's a note in the chart. Patient has identical twin, eggs harvested with consent for future use." Identical twin? Eggs harvested? My brain felt like it was spinning in slow motion. I grabbed the edge of the table to steady myself. "Doctor, are you telling me someone used my name back then? That someone pretended to be me?" He looked down at his notes, voice dropping low. "Not just pretended. The signature on the consent form, it looks exactly like yours. I pulled it up on the screen. Same loop on the L, same little tail on the N. I've seen thousands of signatures. This one matches." My chest felt tight, like I couldn't get a full breath. 4 babies inside me, 4 heartbeats that weren't supposed to be there, and now this ghost from 14 years ago, a twin I never knew existed. I whispered, "What happened to her? My sister?" Dr. Matthews hesitated. He scrolled through more pages. The last entry is from 2012. It says the twin, listed as Jane Thompson, requested all embryos be frozen indefinitely. Then nothing. No follow-up appointments, no transfers. The account went dormant. Jane. My mom's middle name was Jane. She used to joke that if she ever had another daughter, she'd name her that. But she never did. Or did she? Tears started burning behind my eyes. "Doctor, could those frozen embryos, could they somehow be the ones you just put inside me?" He shook his head slowly. "No, we used fresh donor sperm and your eggs from this cycle. I watched every step myself. But Lisa, the genetic marker doesn't lie. These 4 babies carry the exact same rare code, which means..." He stopped, eyes locking on mine. "Which means the eggs we retrieved from you this time, they're a perfect genetic match to embryos that were already frozen under your name 14 years ago." The room felt too small, too quiet. Only those 4 tiny heartbeats thumping through the speakers. I pressed my hand to my belly. "Dr. Matthews, are you telling me my own body grew eggs that match a secret stash from my past? How is that even possible?" He leaned closer, voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know yet, but I do know one thing. We need to pull every single record from storage, because if I'm right, someone, maybe your twin, maybe someone else, used your identity once before, and whatever happened back then, it's connected to these 4 little miracles right here." My hands started shaking again. Not from fear this time, from something bigger, something that felt like fate and mystery all wrapped together. I looked at the screen one more time, 4 perfect forms, 4 beating hearts, and I knew deep in my soul this wasn't the end of the surprises. It was only the doorway to something much deeper. Friends, what happened next still gives me chills every single day. The call I got 2 days later, the old photo that showed up in my mailbox with no return address, and the truth about my mother that turned my whole world upside down. 2 days after that ultrasound, my phone rang at 7:15 in the morning. It was Dr. Matthews. His voice sounded different, tight, almost scared. "Lisa Thompson, you need to come in today, right now if you can. We found something in the old records. You're not going to believe this." I drove to the clinic in a fog. My hands gripped the wheel so hard my fingers hurt. All I could think about were those 4 heartbeats, my babies. Or were they? When I got there, Dr. Matthews was waiting in a small conference room. No nurse this time, just him, a thick folder, and a single old photo on the table. He didn't smile. He just pushed the photo toward me. It was me, or someone who looked exactly like me. Same eyes, same smile, same little freckle on my left cheek. But the hair was shorter, and she was standing in front of a sign that said, "Chicago Fertility Center, 2011. My stomach dropped. "Who is this?" I asked, voice shaking. He opened the folder. "Her name is listed as Jane Thompson, same birthday as you, same blood type, same everything except one thing." He pointed to a line on the first page. "Jane came in alone in 2011. She said she was you." I felt the room tilt. "But I was teaching 2nd grade that year. I was dating that guy from the coffee shop. Remember I told you? I never stepped foot in a fertility clinic until this year." Dr. Matthews nodded slowly. "I believe you, but look at the consent form. The signature is yours, exact match. And here's the part that made me call you right away." He flipped to another page, lab results from 2011, egg retrieval notes, 12 eggs harvested, 10 frozen. Jane, or whoever she was, signed to freeze them indefinitely. Then she disappeared. No payments after the first year. The clinic sent letters, but they came back undeliverable. I stared at the photo again. She looked so much like me it hurt, like looking in a mirror from another life. Tears slipped down my face. "Doctor, are you saying my twin sister stole my identity, took my eggs, and then what? Left them here for 14 years? He took a deep breath. "We pulled the frozen samples yesterday. We tested one. The DNA matches the marker in your current pregnancy. Exactly. These 4 babies, they carry DNA from those frozen eggs, not just from your fresh cycle." My mind raced. "How? We only transferred 2 embryos this time." He leaned forward. "That's what we're trying to figure out, but the genetic tests don't lie. Your body, it's carrying quadruplets with a mix of DNA, some from the fresh eggs we retrieved last month, and some from eggs that were frozen in 2011 under your name." I pressed my hands to my belly, feeling those tiny flutters for the first time. It felt like they were listening. "Dr. Matthews, if Jane was my twin, why would she do this, and where is she now?" He closed the folder gently. "We don't know, but we found one more thing in the file, a handwritten note from Jane tucked in the back. It's addressed to you." He slid a small yellowed paper across the table. I unfolded it with trembling fingers. The handwriting was shaky but clear. "Lisa, if you ever read this, I'm so sorry. I didn't have a choice. Mom made me promise. She said you'd understand one day. The babies are yours, but they're also hers. Please forgive me. I love you. Your sister, Jane." My world stopped. Mom? My sweet, quiet mama who died 2 years ago? What did she have to do with this? Dr. Matthews watched my face. "Lisa, your mother was listed as the emergency contact in Jane's file. She signed as a witness on the consent form." I couldn't speak. Only tears. Hot, fast tears. Everything I thought I knew about my family, my mom, my life, was crumbling. But those 4 heartbeats, they were still there, strong, real, and somehow they were the key to unlocking it all. Friends, what I learned next about my mother broke my heart wide open. The secret she kept for decades, the reason Jane vanished, and the miracle that made me realize these babies were meant to find me. I sat in my car outside the clinic for almost an hour after that appointment. The note from Jane was folded in my hand like it might disappear if I let go. Mom made me promise. She said you'd understand one day. The babies are yours, but they're also hers. Hers. My mom's. I drove straight to the little storage unit where I kept all of Mama's things after she passed. Boxes of old letters, photo albums, her favorite teapot wrapped in newspaper. I hadn't opened most of it yet. It hurt too much, but now I had to. I pulled out the big blue album, the one she called Our Memories. I flipped through slowly. Baby pictures of me, graduation, Christmas mornings. Then I got to a page near the back that looked different. A single photo tucked behind a loose corner. It was Mom, younger, maybe in her late 30s, holding two tiny babies, one wrapped in pink, one in blue. Twins, and the date written underneath in her neat handwriting, Lisa and Jane, 1983. My birthday, but there were two of us. I felt my knees give out. I sat right there on the cold concrete floor and cried like I was 5 years old again. Mom had a twin daughter, me and Jane. She gave Jane up, or Jane was taken. The photo had a tiny hospital bracelet still attached, Jane Thompson, 6 pounds, 2 ounces. I found more in the next box, a yellowed hospital discharge paper from 1983. It said, Mother Margaret Thompson, live birth, 1 female. Stillbirth reported for second twin. Stillbirth. That's what she told everyone, including me. All my life, I thought I was an only child because my twin sister didn't make it. But Jane was alive. She grew up somewhere else, and somehow she found her way back to me. I called Dr. Matthews that same night. My voice was hoarse from crying. Doctor, my mom lied. There was a twin. Jane was real. She gave her up or something happened. But why the eggs? Why 14 years ago? He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, Lisa Thompson, I think Jane came looking for you. In 2011, she was sick, very sick. The records show she had a rare heart condition, the same one that shows up in your baby's genetic tests now. My hand flew to my mouth. The heart defect? Yes, she knew she might not make it, so she used your identity to harvest eggs. Her eggs, since you're identical twins. She froze them here, hoping one day you'd find them, or maybe she planned to tell you, but she never came back. I whispered, she died? We checked. Jane Thompson passed away in 2013 from complications of that heart condition. She was only 30. The tears wouldn't stop. My sister died thinking I'd never know her. My mom carried that secret to her grave, and now 4 little babies inside me carried pieces of both of them. But here's the part that still makes me sob with gratitude. The next morning, Dr. Matthews called again. Lisa, we did full genetic mapping on the quadruplets. 3 of them match the 2011 frozen eggs, Jane's line. But one is purely from your fresh cycle this year. Your egg, your baby, completely yours. 1 was mine alone, a gift from the present. 3 were echoes of my lost sister. All 4, miracles. I touched my belly and whispered to them, you're not just mine, you're ours. Your Aunt Jane is with you, and Grandma is watching. Friends, I never imagined my dream of being a mom would come wrapped in so much pain and so much love. These babies healed wounds I didn't even know I had, but there's still one last piece missing. A letter Jane left with a lawyer, one that only gets opened when all 4 babies are born healthy. I get it next month at my due date. What she wrote to me, to us, I still don't know, but I feel her. I feel them all. If this story touched your heart like it did mine, stay with me for the final part, the letter, the births, and the moment I finally understood why everything happened exactly the way it did. It's the most beautiful ending I could ever dream of. The due date came faster than I thought possible. 36 weeks felt like a lifetime and a blink all at once. My belly was huge, 4 little lives stretching and kicking like they already knew the story we'd been living. On the morning of delivery, I walked into the hospital holding that sealed envelope from Jane's lawyer. They told me not to open it until all 4 babies were born safe and healthy. I kept it in my pocket like a talisman. The C-section was calm, peaceful. The doctors were kind, the nurses held my hand. One by one, they brought my babies into the world. First came sweet little Grace, the one that was purely mine from this cycle. She cried loud and strong, pink cheeks, tiny fists waving. I kissed her forehead and whispered, "You're my fresh start, baby girl." Then came the 3 miracles from Jane's frozen eggs, Emma, Lily, and little Noah. Each one looked so much like the old photo of me and Jane as babies. Same button noses, same dark lashes. When they placed them on my chest, I felt both my sister and my mom right there with us, like they were finally together again through these 4 perfect souls. The room filled with soft cries and quiet cheers. I was crying so hard I could barely see. Happy tears, healing tears, grateful tears. After they cleaned everyone up and we were all settled in the recovery room, the lawyer came in quietly. He handed me the envelope with a gentle nod. "It's time, Miss Thompson." I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was 1 sheet of paper, Jane's handwriting, dated 2012. "Dear Lisa, if you're reading this, it means my babies made it. Our babies. I'm so sorry I never got to tell you in person. Mom gave me up when we were born. She was young, scared, alone. She kept you, but the doctor said I wouldn't live long because of my heart. She thought it was kinder to let someone else try to save me. I found out the truth when I was 25. I tracked Mom down. She cried for days. She told me about you, my beautiful sister who became a teacher, who loved kids, who had the biggest heart. I was already sick. I knew I wouldn't make it to 40, so I did the only thing I could think of. I came to the clinic as you. I gave them my eggs, our eggs, so one day you could have the family I never could. I wanted you to have the joy I missed. I wanted our line to keep going. Please don't hate Mom. She carried the guilt every single day. She loved us both more than words. If these babies are here, tell them their Aunt Javine loved them before they even existed. Tell them their Grandma Margaret watched over every heartbeat. And tell yourself you were never alone. You had us the whole time. I love you, big sister. Forever. Jane." I read it out loud to my 4 sleeping babies. My voice broke on every line. But when I finished, the room felt lighter, like the weight of decades had finally lifted. Today, my quadruplets are 6 months old. They laugh, they roll, they grab my fingers like they'll never let go. Grace has my smile. Emma has Jane's curious eyes. Lily coos like she's telling secrets. Noah, he's the quiet watcher, just like Mom used to be. Every night, I tell them the story, not the scary parts, just the love parts. How family can find its way back even after years of silence. How pain can turn into the biggest blessing. Friends, if you've watched all 5 parts, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've been with me through tears, through questions, through miracles. Stories like this remind us we're never as alone as we feel. A quick note, this is a true story shared with love, but names, dates, and some details have been gently adjusted to protect privacy. This channel and I are grateful for every bit of support. Thank you to YouTube and the amazing YouTube team for giving stories like this a home where hearts can connect across miles. If Lisa's journey touched you, give this video a like, share it with someone who needs hope today, and maybe drop a heart in the comments if you believe in second chances and family miracles. I'll keep sharing real, emotional stories just like this one. Until next time, hold your loved ones close. You never know the beautiful ways life can surprise you. With all my love, Lisa Thompson.